It's the most wonderful time of the year, and I'm up on the housetop with another edition of Just an Opinion. Annual traditions go hand in hand with Christmas, and movies are very much part of that. Thanks to streaming services and the Hallmark Channel, there is a plethora of Christmas movies released every year, so there definitely is not a shortage in that department. And whether you want a classic tale, an over-the-top cheesy love story featuring single parents, or even a horror film, Christmas serves as the backdrop to numerous films in any genre you can name. Is it its own genre? Well, that's debatable. So today I'm going to rank my top 12 favorite Christmas movies. Now before I ho my way through the list, I wanted to give an honorable mention to the Gift of the Magi segment from Henry's Full House. This is a beautiful but sad tale about how those, even who are penniless, still believe in giving presents to their loved ones at Christmas time. In this case, the presents desired are above the monetary capabilities of the young couple.
Della,
Yes.
is it awful not having all these things for real?
I have you. And that's for real.
In a completely selfless act, each comes up with a plan to raise money to buy the other that special gift. But it's at the sacrifice of something of their own, and it doesn't go as smoothly as they anticipated.
See, I sold the watch to buy you the combs.
Oh, Jim.
This story has been adapted several times with modern television and cinema, but this is by far my favorite. Okay, so let's kick off the list. Number 12 is Love Actually. This film is so special. With so many moving parts, it would have been very easy to be convoluted, but it wasn't. The flick features several stories of love, each original and unique. While the plot lines and the characters do commingle, the film is really tied together by bookended scenes at the beginning and the end, featuring arrivals at an airport.
Here she is. This is Aurelia, this is Juliet, this is Peter. Hi. Oh, Mark, hi. I didn't see you there.
Yeah, I just thought I'd tag along.
Jamie's friends are so good looking. He never tells me this. I think maybe now I have made the wrong choice, picked the wrong Englishman.
She can't speak English properly, she just doesn't know what to say.
I particularly love the diversity of the different segments of this film. With a common theme of love, it takes several different approaches to this subject. Most are sweet.
Okay. Well, truth is, actually, I'm in love.
Sorry?
But some don't exactly have a happy ending. Even with its huge cast, all the performances are stellar. Hollywood tried to make several films like this, all tied together with a common theme, New Year's Eve, Valentine's Day, with several very big prominent names, but none had the magic of this film. Number 11 is Miracle on 34th Street. A Christmas movie where the climax is Santa on trial? You betcha!
What is your name?
Kris Kringle.
Where do you live?
That's what this hearing will decide.
Do you believe that you're Santa Claus?
Of course.
This classic film centers on belief and decency amongst humans. Some things that often get lost during the holidays. Edmund Gwenn masterfully plays the role of Kris Kringle, a man who has heavy influence on others to be good and honest. But in the same turn, those who doubt him conspire against him. The movie was released in 1947, yet some of the ideas explored are still very contemporary. Maureen O'Hara plays a single mom who believes in hard work and no nonsense. She's instilled this into her daughter as well, played by a young Natalie Wood. Both women are deeply impacted after meeting Kris Kringle.
Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to.
Huh?
I mean, just because things don't turn out the way you want them to the first time, you've still got to believe in people. I found that.
showing that belief in some fantasies is okay, and dreams really do come true, but maybe not in the way you think. Number 10 is a tie between Home Alone and Home Alone 2. Come on, they're basically the same film, but they both have their highlights. As a kid, I loved Kevin and the traps he set, but as an adult, I really feel like Harry and Marv are more so the highlights of the films. The first installment is great, with Kevin's home as the centerpiece. The build-up is great up until the point of the attempted robbery and all the hijinks that ensue.
Now you're dead! I got him!
But I also love the minor plot line of Kevin's mom trying to get home to him. It feels slightly reminiscent of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, another John Hughes classic, even including a cameo with John Candy, which always makes me smile.
I had a few hits a few years ago. That's why I, just polka, 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 polka. No? Twin Lakes polka, Damavuji polka, a.k.a. Kiss Me polka, polka twist.
Well, these are songs.
For the second film, I loved how New York City was the location. Cinematically, everything is beautiful, with the city decorated to the nines and featuring a really good soundtrack with great Christmas music. It just adds to the atmosphere of the film, making it more enjoyable in my opinion. My personal highlights though were all the scenes at the hotel. Tim Curry shines in all of his scenes, trying to catch Kevin in his lies.
You was here, and you was smooching with my brother.
I'm afraid you're mistaken, sir.
Don't give me that. You've been smooching with everybody. Snuffy, Al, Leo, Little Mo with the gimpy leg, Cheeks, Bony Bob, Cliff.
No. In the end, though, we get the finale that we were expecting. The ante has certainly been raised, though, with the intricity of some of the traps. Marv and Harry are flawless with their comical deja vu moments, yet still falling for every trap that Kevin sets.
Don't worry, Harry! I'll get him! Ow! Right in the schnoz!
That's two. Come on, let's get him.
Oops.
This is one of those sequels that very much is pretty much a duplicate of the original, but it still hits all the high notes. You know what you're getting when you watch these films, and they are very worthy of a back-to-back viewing.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Number 9 is Elf. This story is original, endearing, and full of well-rounded characters. Will Ferrell is flawless as Buddy the Elf. His extreme naivete and enthusiasm is what makes this film work.
I walked all day and night to find you.
You look like you came from the North Pole.
That's exactly where I came from. Santa must have called you.
Oh, yeah, sure. He just got off the cell phone with me.
You did?
It combines fantasy with contemporary storytelling. The beginning acts like an origin Christmas story with Buddy working as one of Santa's elves. But then the location is changed to New York City and becomes a little bit more modern with Buddy maturing a bit. I found the storyline of him discovering love was very sweet.
Today, 'cause you make me feel so young.
Sorry.
You missed.
What do you mean I missed?
You missed.
At its core, there really is a good message within this comedy. In particular with Buddy's dad, we sometimes get caught up in life's complexities and we forget to enjoy its simplicities. Buddy represents that over-enthusiastic person we all know that starts celebrating Christmas as soon as possible. But deep down, I think that a lot of us really wish that we could find that same happiness within the season. Number 8 is Santa Claus the Movie. Now this film bombed at the box office, but I have always loved it. The first half is an origin story, of how Santa Claus came to be, and also how he developed some of those characteristics that we've come to accept from our jolly old friend.
Make up a list of who is naughty and nice.
Yes, sir.
And be careful. I'll be checking it twice.
The second half of the film, though, is deeply contrasted. We have the traditional Santa Claus possibly losing the war for Christmas against an evil toy maker, brilliantly played by John Lithgow.
And we'll call it Christmas 2!
His performance is a bit bombastic, but it's hilarious the entire time. Dudley Moore is also a gem in this film, giving a very punny performance as the elf Patch. But the heart of the film is Mr. Lebowski himself, David Huddleston, playing the title character.
There's nothing to worry about. It's only flying. It's only flying. What am I saying? Oh.
He embodied everything a kid would imagine in Santa Claus. For me, this was most evident in the love and compassion that he showed towards the homeless Joe, a child abandoned by all those he cared about.
I was afraid you'd forget about me.
Number 7 is Gremlins. While a great film on its own, having it take place during Christmas time was a brilliant move. Not all Christmas movies have to be happy, and I'm not just talking about the little green monsters in this flick. The beginning displays what could be a utopian town, yet several characters are facing financial and very emotional hardships during the season.
I just want somebody to listen, especially around the holidays.
Why is that?
That's when a lot of people get really depressed.
Oh. That's funny, because I always thought everyone was happy during the holidays. No matter what.
Well, most people are, but some aren't.
Their problems are only worsened when gremlins start running amok around the town. I think the moral of this movie and the sequel, quite frankly, is don't trust Billy Peltzer with a Mogwai. What's interesting is that the Christmas atmosphere actually makes some scenes more terrifying. But at the same time, it does lighten the mood a bit here and there. It's actually hard to decipher whether this is a straight horror film or not, given the shifts in tone. I mean, who doesn't smile in every scene that Gizmo is in? And finally, on a personal note, there might be a rumor out there that I tried to watch this movie when I was 5 years old in the theater, and it was too much for me, and I was screaming and crying, and my cousin Lynette had to take me out of the theater, and she took me to a toy store, and she bought me a pack of Michael Jackson trading cards to try to cheer me up. Yeah, that didn't happen, I swear. Number 6 is Ernest Saves Christmas. Now this film is severely misjudged.
Ho, 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 Vern. Merry
The character of Ernest P. Worrell is very hit and miss, and so are some of the movies featuring his character. But I truly feel that this movie can be enjoyed by anyone. The plot is simple. The current Santa Claus is in desperate need to find a suitable replacement for his role, or the magic of Christmas could be lost forever. Like I said, very simple, but Douglas Seal plays this role of Santa Claus to perfection.
I took over the position of Santa Claus in 1889 from a German chap. I enjoyed every second of it.
Then how come you don't want to be Santa Claus anymore?
No, it isn't that, you see. With the passing of time, the magic fades.
I've got some jumper cables in the back if you need recharging.
Ernest is hilarious in his role as the dim-witted accomplice in Santa's journey.
Touchdown!
While he had his shortcomings, he lacked nothing when it came to his sincerity and willingness to help others. I really don't think it's a coincidence that his character was named Ernest when you look at the definition of the word. And like every Ernest movie, you get a zany bunch of side characters that offer additional, yet some pretty odd humor.
I think I hear something.
Number 5 is Midnight Clear. Now this is certainly the most depressing film on my list, but actually it's a Christian film. While there is a very good message within, it's not done in a preachy or overbearing way. The flick does not contain the typical loud and bright Christmas conventions. It's a much more somber and grounded story. It features an ensemble cast all dealing with some sort of emotional trauma. These feelings are heightened at Christmas time, causing more pain for some, but others are on the brink of impulsive, life-changing decisions.
Merry Christmas.
The interwoven stories are beautifully told as the characters start to connect.
It's easy to take care of someone who gives back or says thank you. But taking care of someone who doesn't even know what you're doing, it makes you figure out what kind of a person you really are. You know?
Yeah.
On the bright side, the film offers a glimmer of hope for each of these lost souls, as they make a connection with somebody new, but also make peace with something from their past. The tone shifts slightly at the end as several attend a Christmas Eve church service. They may not have the happy ending, but they are better off than when they started, and they have the faith and courage to fight another day. Number 4 is Silent Night, Deadly Night. This is by far one of the best and original horror films from the 1980s, featuring a killer dressed as Santa Claus. While hitting all the main points of a slasher film, the plot is actually more cerebral than it gets credit for. The standout performance is Billy. The picture really developed his motives to kill, with several chapters of psychological trauma and abuse.
I didn't mean to be naughty. Don't punish me, please.
William. I love when a horror film takes an icon of something pure and joyful, and then you can never look at it the same way after screening the movie. In some ways it's a morality tale, following the rules of a horror film, as Billy really does feel like he's punishing the naughty. Punish! What's also great about this film is that it had a soundtrack written specifically for it, featuring all original Christmas songs.
My brother's there, on the warm side of the door. He'll call to me, the way he did before.
None of these songs became classics, though. I really don't think titles like Christmas Flu or Santa's Watching, Santa's Creeping are exactly sing-along tales. Number 3 is A Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Growing up named Ralph, do you know how many times I heard that? Anyhow, the charm of this film is how relatable it is, in some ways, to the childhood experience around Christmas time. We all had that one toy that we were just begging Santa Claus for. And time just seemed to stand still on the countdown to December 25th. And of course, anyone or anything was standing in our way from getting this present.
No, I want an official red undercover knife and 200 jet my rifle.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
This film is iconic, with both its quotable dialogue and also the hilarious situations that the family finds themselves in.
You good boy. Show Mommy how the piggies eat.
A certain charm that I didn't appreciate until later was the narrator aspect of this.
Where did you hear that word?
Now, I had heard that word at least 10 times a day from my old man. My father worked in profanity the way other artists might work in oils or clay.
Similar to the Wonder Years, the adult narrator is able to empathize with the child version of himself but also find the humor in everything.
Not a finger!
Number 2 is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. While enjoyable for any age, I think this film is funnier as an adult. As a grown-up, many want to provide the best possible Christmas you can for your family. But the harder you try, the more you set yourself up for possible blunders and catastrophe. It's quite brilliant how this picture took some very simple Christmas time activities and answered the budding question, what could go wrong, in several scenarios. While already an established character, I think that this was Chevy Chase's best performance as Clark Griswold. He is very sweet and genuine with his intentions, but there's always that fine line between sincerity and insanity with him.
Simply solved the problem. We needed a coffin, a tree. There are no lots open on Christmas Eve. Lewis burned down my tree, so I replaced it as best I could. Voila.
Throughout all the vacation movies, his performances are always consistent, but...
Okay, well then how come he never notices that he has different kids?
You know, that actually is a really good question. Randy Quaid also gives a stellar performance as Clark's antithesis, Cousin Eddie.
Merry Christmas! Dinner with Paul!
I think this movie displays that Christmas memories are often those incidences that went horribly wrong, but become funnier each time you remember them. Number 1 is It's a Wonderful Life. While certainly an iconic Christmas film, it actually transcends just being a holiday flick. Quite frankly, I recommend this movie to anyone who needs a pick-me-up and a reminder to be grateful for what you do have. Unfortunately, I think it's natural to sometimes feel like you're really not making a difference in the world. And we all really could use that George Bailey experience showing us what the world would be like without us. Jimmy Stewart gave perhaps his best performance in this flick.
What is it you want, Barry? What do you want? You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
He was a man full of dreams and ideas, but sacrificed nearly everything for his family and for his hometown.
They've appointed George here as executive secretary to take his father's place.
Oh, no, but Uncle Billy is...
You can keep him on, that's all right. As secretary, you can hire anyone you like.
Dr. Cameron, let's get this thing straight. I'm leaving right now. I'm going to school. This is my last chance. Uncle Billy here, he's your man.
But George, they'll vote with Potter otherwise.
When the shoe is on the other foot and George needs a little help, the whole town comes to his aid. And I can't help but shed a few tears at that scene every time I watch it.
Isn't it wonderful? So many friends. Mary did it, George. Mary did it. She told some people you were in trouble with it. They scattered all over town collecting money. Didn't ask any question, just said George in trouble. Tell me.
What is this?
My father had the tradition of watching this movie every Christmas Eve, and I joined him a few times. But before he passed away, I promised him I would carry on the tradition. Thank you so much for watching, and please do leave a comment. I'll be back soon, but this time I'm going to rank my top 12 Christmas specials. I hope you check it out. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for the stereo speakers, the chicken soup too. And I'm trying to be jolly good golly, but I got the flu. I got the flu. I got the Christmas flu. Baby, I got the flu. I feel terrible, darling.